What if the nut you eat every day is quietly shortening your life? As we get older, our bodies don't handle certain foods the way they used to. Recent medical studies show that what felt safe in your 40s might quietly harm you in your 60s and beyond. One category that's become surprisingly tricky: nuts. Yes, nuts. While many are celebrated as healthy, the truth is a few of them carry hidden risks for older adults, and most people don't even realize it until the damage is already done. Whether it's how they're processed or the oils used to coat them, some nuts may be shortening your life without you knowing it. In this video, we'll uncover 6 specific nuts or nut-based products you should either avoid or treat with serious caution after age 60. We'll break down the hidden dangers, explain what's happening in your body, and help you make better decisions for your heart, your brain, and your long-term vitality. If you've ever thought, it's just a snack, what harm can it do? This video might change the way you think. Let's get started. Number 1, the salted cocktail mix. Most people don't think twice before grabbing a handful of those mixed nuts from a jar, especially the kind labeled as a party favorite or snack blend. But for older adults, that salty cocktail mix may be quietly sabotaging your health every single day. The first red flag: sodium, lots of it. Salted nut blends often contain shockingly high amounts of sodium, sometimes well over 200 millimollions per serving. And let's be honest, when's the last time you stopped at one serving? It's easy to eat 2, 3, even 4 handfuls without noticing. That much salt, regularly consumed, puts tremendous pressure on your cardiovascular system. After 70, your arteries are naturally less elastic, your kidneys filter more slowly, and your blood pressure becomes more sensitive to excess sodium. So while a younger body might recover quickly, yours might not. Then there's the issue of the oils. Most commercial nut mixes are roasted in low-quality vegetable or seed oils. Think canola, soybean, or even cottonseed oil. These oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids and prone to oxidation when exposed to heat and air. Oxidized fats create inflammation in the body, especially in your blood vessels and joints. For someone over 70, where inflammation is already higher due to aging, adding more from food can mean chronic discomfort, elevated heart risks, and a weakened immune response. Psychologically, these nut mixes create a false sense of health. Because nuts are marketed as heart healthy, many seniors don't count them as snacks, but more like a smart food choice. So they're eaten more often, sometimes even replaced meals. But behind that image of wholesomeness is a snack that's been industrially processed, salted, and loaded with preservatives to boost shelf life and addictiveness. And that's not all. Many cocktail mix blends also include glazed or sweetened nuts, often without making it obvious on the front label. These come coated in corn syrup solids, dextrose, and caramel color, all things your body doesn't process well in your later years. The sugars spike blood glucose, contribute to belly fat, and fuel silent inflammation that speeds up aging in your cells and organs. Think about someone like George, a retired bus driver in Ohio, who told me he used to go through a tub of those mixed nuts every week. They were better than chips, he said. But when his doctor found out his blood pressure was edging into dangerous territory, the culprit wasn't red meat or candy. It was those innocent-looking nuts in his living room cabinet. George cut them out, swapped in raw almonds and walnuts in small portions, and within 6 weeks, his numbers were back in range. So if those colorful tins are sitting in your pantry, or worse, within arm's reach of your recliner, it might be time to toss them. Your heart, your joints, and your brain will thank you. Number 2, the sugar-coated candied nuts. They look festive, smell amazing, and give you that satisfying crunch. But candied nuts are one of the most deceptive snacks you can keep around the house, especially after 70. Whether it's honey-roasted peanuts, cinnamon-glazed almonds, or caramelized pecans, these sugar-laden treats are doing more damage than most people realize. Starts with the sugar, of course. A single handful of candied nuts can contain 10 to 15 grams of added sugar. For seniors, that's nearly half the recommended daily limit in just one snack. But here's where it gets dangerous. Sugar, when paired with fats like those in nuts, creates a perfect storm for arterial plaque buildup. The fats in nuts by themselves can be beneficial, but when combined with sugars and caramelization processes, they oxidize quickly. This oxidation leads to the creation of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which speed up the aging of your tissues and cause stiffening of blood vessels. That's the very last thing you want happening when you're in your 70s or 80s. Then comes the insulin spike. Your pancreas has to work harder to process that sugar, especially in older age when insulin sensitivity often drops. The more frequent these spikes, the more likely you are to store visceral fat, especially around your belly and organs, which increases your risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even certain cancers over time. What felt like just a treat becomes a quiet accelerant of aging. Emotionally, candied nuts also pose a risk. They're comfort food, and when we're lonely, tired, or stressed, which is often more common in our later years, it's easy to reach for something sweet that reminds us of holidays or gatherings. But that nostalgia is not worth the metabolic toll. It's a temporary emotional lift that leads to long-term physical decline. I remember a woman named Margaret, 76, who kept a bowl of cinnamon pecans on her dining table. "They make me feel warm inside," she told me. But when her A1C crept into pre-diabetic range and her energy levels dropped, she started paying attention to how often her hand dipped into that bowl. It turned out she was eating the equivalent of a dessert every single afternoon. Once she replaced them with a few unsweetened roasted walnuts and herbal tea, her cravings gradually faded, and so did her blood sugar issues. So what's the takeaway here? Candied nuts may look harmless, even wholesome, but after 70, they're a trap. A daily handful can quietly fuel inflammation, spike blood sugar, and hasten cardiovascular decline, all while feeling like a reward. If you want something sweet, there are safer ways to satisfy that urge. But these sugar bombs disguised as snacks, they're not worth the price you pay. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you are here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, the overly salted party nuts. They come in shiny tins during the holidays, sit in crystal bowls at social gatherings, and seem like a light, easy snack. But those heavily salted mixed nuts, cashews, peanuts, almonds, all dressed in sodium and sometimes artificial flavors, are not doing older bodies any favors. In fact, they're quietly undermining your heart, your kidneys, and even your brain. Let's start with the salt. As we age, our kidneys naturally become less efficient at filtering sodium. That means the same amount of salt that didn't affect you in your 40s can now cause spikes in blood pressure, increased water retention, and greater strain on your heart. Seniors who snack on salted nuts throughout the day often don't realize they're consuming hundreds of milligrams of sodium without ever picking up a salt shaker. What makes this worse is how subtle it is. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer for a reason. There are no early warning signs, just gradual damage to your arteries, vision, and memory. And if you already have hypertension, salted nuts only fan the flames. Some varieties are dusted with flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate or other chemical preservatives, which can also trigger headaches or digestive issues in sensitive individuals. The salty coating also affects your thirst mechanism. It tricks your body into thinking you're not dehydrated when you are, especially dangerous during warmer months or if you're on diuretics. That lightheadedness when standing, or that foggy moment in the afternoon, it might not be age alone, it might be what's in your snack bowl. Then there's the portion trap. Because nuts are small and crunchy, we often underestimate how much we're eating. A quick handful while watching TV, another while chatting on the phone, and suddenly you've eaten half the tin. That's not just salt, it's also a load of calories which quietly contributes to weight gain. And carrying extra weight in your 70s and 80s doesn't just affect your joints, it directly impacts mobility, balance, and overall energy. I once spoke with a man named Robert, 81, who had been dealing with swelling in his ankles for months. His doctor had adjusted medications, checked circulation, even tested for heart issues. But it wasn't until his wife casually mentioned his nut bowl habit during a checkup that the dots connected. He had been eating salted cashews every afternoon, not realizing they were sabotaging his sodium balance. Once he cut back and swapped them for unsalted roasted nuts with a bit of lemon zest, the swelling reduced, and he felt more energetic within days. Salted nuts might seem like a better choice than chips or cookies, but after 70, your body doesn't handle sodium the way it used to. That tiny bit of extra flavor can quietly nudge your health in the wrong direction, day after day. So, if you're reaching for a snack, make it something your body will thank you for, because your heart, kidneys, and brain are listening whether you realize it or not. Number 4, the misleadingly healthy trail mix. Trail mix has long been marketed as a wholesome, energy-boosting snack, a mix of dried fruits, nuts, seeds, sometimes a bit of chocolate. How bad could it be? But for people over 70, the truth is more complicated. What seems like a healthful blend may actually be a stealthy source of sugar spikes, calorie overload, and hidden fats that don't serve your aging body. First, let's talk about the dried fruit. While fruit is good, the dried versions often contain added sugar and concentrated calories. When water is removed, what's left is a small, chewy piece packed with fructose and often dusted with additional sweeteners or even sulfites for color retention. Just a small handful of dried banana chips or sweetened cranberries can deliver more sugar than a slice of cake, and it doesn't fill you up the same way, which makes it easy to keep going back for more. Now layer that sugar onto the fat content of the nuts. Some trail mixes use honey roasted, oil roasted, or chocolate-covered nuts, turning them into tiny calorie bombs. You may think you're snacking smart, but each bite brings a flood of energy your body may not need, especially if you're not physically active. The result, insulin spikes, creeping blood sugar levels, and gradual fat accumulation around the waist. Exactly the kind of fat that increases the risk of diabetes, heart disease, and even memory decline in seniors. Then there's the psychological factor. Because trail mix looks natural and often comes in packaging with words like organic, energizing, or heart healthy, we drop our guard. It's easy to eat far more than you intended. A 72-year-old woman I know, named Ellen, used to snack on trail mix while doing crossword puzzles. One day she actually weighed what she had eaten in a sitting, nearly 600 calories worth. She hadn't felt full, just vaguely satisfied, and she was doing this daily. Another issue is the salty-sweet combo. Many trail mixes include both salt and sugar to create a flavor contrast that keeps you reaching for more. That combination lights up the pleasure centers in your brain. Yes, even in your 70s and 80s, just like fast food does. It's a quiet addiction packaged in a resealable pouch. So what's the fix? If you truly enjoy trail mix, make your own at home. Use unsalted raw nuts. Add a modest handful of unsweetened dried fruit like tart cherries or plain raisins, and include seeds like pumpkin or sunflower. Keep the portion small and treat it like what it is, a treat, not a meal. As we age, what used to be a harmless nibble can become a health tripwire. Trail mix is one of those foods that sounds like it's helping you, but it may be working against you without you even realizing it. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5. The deceptively crunchy corn nuts might take you back to road trips, ball games, or quick convenience store snacks. But if you're over 70, this nostalgic crunch can come at a hefty price. At first glance, they don't seem so bad. After all, they're made from corn, a vegetable, right? But here's what most people miss. These golden kernels are not the same as steamed corn on the cob. They're deep fried, heavily salted, and so dry they were practically begging for a glass of water just to swallow them. The process of making corn nuts involves soaking large corn kernels, then deep frying them until they become rock hard. That crispy texture isn't natural. It's a result of oil saturation and dehydration, which makes them not only hard to chew, but also difficult to digest for older adults who often have weaker teeth, sensitive gums, or digestive slowdowns. Eating corn nuts can turn into a dental hazard and a gut ache all in one. But the bigger issue is what's hidden beneath the crunch. Most store-bought corn nuts are packed with sodium, sometimes over 200 milligrams in a single handful. That might not sound alarming, but for seniors watching their blood pressure or trying to protect kidney health, even small amounts of excess sodium add up fast. And once you start crunching, it's hard to stop. That addictive texture keeps you reaching back in the bag, even if your body is quietly protesting. There's also the oil. Many corn nuts are fried in vegetable oils like soybean or canola, which are often refined and oxidized during high-heat cooking. That means they contain harmful compounds known to increase inflammation in the body, something aging adults should avoid, especially those with arthritis, heart issues, or cognitive concerns. And if you're thinking of your gut health, which becomes more delicate with age, here's something to consider. That super dry crunch requires extra work from your digestive tract, often without enough water or fiber to help it along. That can lead to constipation, bloating, and that uncomfortable, heavy feeling in your stomach that lingers for hours after a snack you barely enjoyed. There's a better way. If you love the idea of a crunchy snack, try lightly roasted chickpeas or air-popped popcorn with minimal seasoning. These provide fiber, are easier to digest, and don't attack your teeth or arteries in the process. The trick isn't to give up snacking. It's to outsmart the snacks that pretend to be harmless. Corn nuts whisper fun and harmless when in truth, they're working against your health behind the scenes. And for those of us in our 70s and beyond, that's a trade-off we can't afford to ignore. Number 6, the sugar-coated candy nut trap. They're festive, they smell amazing, and they show up in gift tins, holiday markets, and fairgrounds across the country. But after 70, sugar-coated nuts like pralines, candied pecans, or honey-roasted peanuts come with a sweet little trap that doesn't get talked about enough. One that doesn't just affect your waistline, but also your circulation, brain, and heart. What makes these nuts dangerous isn't the nut itself, it's what's layered on top. These glossy coatings are typically made with a mix of refined sugar, corn syrup, sometimes butter or oil, and a dash of salt. That combo spikes your blood sugar quickly, followed by a crash that leaves you tired, hungry again, and with inflammation running quietly through your system. And if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, like so many are in their later years, that just one handful can throw off your glucose for hours. Here's where it gets even more concerning. Sugar doesn't just raise blood sugar levels, it also stiffens blood vessels. Research has shown that diets high in added sugars accelerate arterial aging, make blood pressure harder to control, and weaken the elasticity of the very system your heart relies on to stay strong. And when those sugars are paired with unhealthy oils during roasting, like in many mass-produced candied nuts, you're compounding the damage with oxidized fats that increase LDL cholesterol and promote silent inflammation in your arteries. It's not just the physical health risk either. High-sugar snacks like these have been linked to a greater risk of cognitive decline in older adults. A 2023 study published in the United States found that people over 60 who consumed high amounts of added sugars had significantly faster memory loss compared to those who didn't. The reason? Sugar feeds inflammation in the brain too, especially when paired with the kinds of preservatives and additives found in flavored snacks. And it's not just a health issue, it's a habit issue. The sweetness creates a cycle that can lead to overeating. One handful feels innocent, but the combination of salt, crunch, and sugar hijacks your satiety signals. Before you know it, that little bowl on the coffee table is empty, and your blood sugar is out of whack for the rest of the evening. If you want to enjoy nuts without the risks, go for raw or dry roasted ones with no sugar or artificial coatings. A small portion of plain almonds, walnuts, or even pistachios can support heart health, offer good fats, and give you lasting energy without the crash. The older we get, the more we need to think about every bite, not with fear, but with intention. And while candied nuts may seem harmless or just a treat, they carry a price tag that most people don't see until it's too late. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Final thoughts. Getting older gives us something that youth never could: clarity. we start to realize that it's not always about adding more to our lives, but subtracting the things that quietly drain us. The truth is, most of the nuts we've talked about today aren't dangerous because of one single bite. They're dangerous because of the blind spots they create. We trust their health halo. We assume small means safe. We believe that natural on the label means harmless. But if we're not careful, these quiet missteps add up, and they shape the path of our later years. So what's the takeaway? It's not fear, it's awareness. Every bite we take in our 70s, 80s, and beyond is either helping us or hurting us. The more we stay informed, the more power we have to make choices that keep us strong, steady, and sharp. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these nuts surprised you the most? And what change are you going to make starting today? Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.